So this next video, I guess, is going to be about, what are some of the ages that people get cloned out? I've seen a lot of conversation. Well, not a lot. There isn't a lot of conversation on this at all. But I've seen some conversation basically on how old are people and how young are people real humans when they get cloned. So, if you don't know, now you know. There's basically an invasion of the body-snatchers type epidemic going on right now. And basically, there's a lot of real humans who are having their souls snatched and they're being replaced with clones. And a lot of these clones were always clones, but some of them were actual real humans at one point. And so, I guess the question is, how old are God's children before they're normally replaced with clones? And so, if you're a real human, you're born into this world, and it's a world filled with clones. If you're a real human, your parents were probably real humans when they gave birth to you. Can clones give birth to real humans? I don't know. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. I mean, that's an interesting question. Sometimes I've wondered. But let's just say your parents were probably real humans when they gave birth to you. But the thing about it is most real humans, I don't think, really know their human parents. I suspect most of our human parents were probably cloned shortly after they gave birth, shortly after they had us. And I don't know. I guess, demons and God ultimately let them live just long enough to have human kids, human babies. And then shortly after that, at some point probably they got cloned out. I mean, that's what usually happens, I think. And so maybe they lived just long enough to have human babies, at least one or two or how many, and then they ended up losing their soul. So I think most humans end up being raised basically by clones who are demons and fallen angels pretending to be human. That's what I basically think is going on here. And so you grow up in the world, and you're a real human being. And I think if you're a real human being, I think you are basically an angel, maybe a former angel who, for whatever reason, wanting free will, you fell from heaven and now you're here on earth as a human, and now you have free will. Maybe, when angels are made mortal, they're turned into human beings. I don't know. I think that's probably what happens. And there's some stuff in the book of Psalms. I might post a comment that seems to suggest this, when God is standing before the congregation of the gods, which means, the Father God standing before the angels in heaven and saying basically, you will die like men, which is, I guess, maybe to say, you're going to be reborn as human beings and you're going to die as men for some reason. I guess, maybe, I'm not talking about the angels who fell with Satan. I'm just talking about angels who didn't fall with Satan. Maybe they were lacking for some reason, or for this reason, or for that reason, or whatever, in heaven, and so they manifested as humans, I think. And that's what a real human is, I think. And so basically, that's what you are, I think, if you're a human. So you're a human, you're growing up, and, it probably depends on how old you are, but, probably at least 70% of the kids you were hanging around growing up, even 20 years ago, were probably clones, I think real humans have been a minority on the earth for quite a long time. When I look at some old pictures and I see, who looks soulless, who looks like a transsexual and things like that, because real humans, they shouldn't look transsexual. They should look either male or female. And when I go back and I look at some of these old pictures, I think real humans have been a minority for quite a long time. And so, I kind of think, even if you're 25 or older, at least 70%, probably more, of the kids you knew growing up were clones. But some of them would have been real humans. But, gradually they start getting picked off, they start losing their souls and becoming clones. Now, what is the earliest age that a real human tends to lose their soul and basically get taken to the underworld and replaced with the, demon or fallen angel imposter clone who knows how to act like you, but they're not really you? I would say, I've heard a comment saying, some people get replaced at 14, 15. I don't know if that's really true, but one thing I will say is, maybe if you're cutting open bunnies or something, right? If you're cutting open bunnies and you're, microwaving pigeons and crap like that, maybe you might get cloned out at 14, 15. But by and large, I think it's kind of known that even no matter who you are, most humans are going to be, in this world especially, in these times, kind of crappy, So I don't think most humans are getting replaced by clones at 14, 15. I think most humans probably at least make it to 18 to 21, I think. If you get replaced earlier than that, you were probably like a real psychopathic, shithead. Probably. But I'm not too sure. But that's just my opinion. I think most humans probably make it till at least 18, 21. At least 21, I would certainly say. And then after that, I think that's where the flies start dropping. The dominoes start dropping. From my personal life, looking back on the people who I think were human and looking on their Facebook photos and things like that and seeing when they really changed for the worse and when they seemed to get soulless and look, uglier and like they were replaced with clones or whatever. I would say, born in 91, graduated high school in like 2009. I would say most of the people that I knew were probably replaced with clones sometime around 2012 to 2014. That's when I look back at the people who I think were human, and I look at when they really seem to take a turn for the worse. That's what I usually come around, 2012 to 2014. And what does that really translate to for my age? It really seems to translate to 21 to like 23-ish. I think that's when a lot of my friends, or just, not so much friends, but just people that I knew who were actually human, I think, were probably replaced with clones. And I would say would say even by 2015, most of the real humans that I knew were already gone, I would say. And there, maybe 2 girls that I knew who may have been real humans before, by the way, may have been real humans before, and by 2015, I'm looking at their pictures. I'm looking at one girl, and I'm thinking she was replaced sometime around 2015. And I'm looking at another girl, and I'm thinking she might have been real 2015. I don't know. She might have been real. But by beginning of like 2016, I think she'd been replaced. So, certainly by the start of 2016, it seems like most of the real humans that I knew, virtually all of them, virtually all of them, have been replaced with clones. And this is like 2 years ago. By like 2 years ago, virtually all of the real humans that I knew have been replaced with clones. And that leads me to think that, you get almost like you get a freebie until you're like 18 if you're a real human. And then, the way that you might act, the way that you've acted from 18 and then to 18 or 21 really dictates how much time you have before you get cloned out if you don't find Christ. And, if you act like a little heathen and, you're running around and you're, running off at the clubs, or you're fornicating, you're, whoremongering, you're, doing drugs or whatever, if you're living a kind of crazy lifestyle from 18 to 21, you might get cloned out by 21, 22, if not a little earlier, right? But if you're living a little bit more conservatively, maybe God gives you a little more time to get it right. It's kind of what I'm thinking. But, if you don't find Christ, I think most of God's children who are born, who are really humans with souls, I think most of them don't really make it to the age of 25. Most of them get cloned out before 25, from what I can see. And very few of them make it to 25. Now, I don't know if this is simply the result of me, being so young and living in an age after 2012. Maybe there was some sort of cosmic shift that happened in 2012, which, accelerated the rate that people got cloned out. Maybe before 2012, real humans got longer to live, or they got more time to live before they got cloned out. Maybe me saying real humans, wouldn't usually make it to 25, maybe in 2000, maybe in the 90s and earlier, 25 would have been 30 or 35, I don't know. Maybe it would have. I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting thing to think about. It wouldn't surprise me if there was some sort of cosmic shift that happened around 2012 that really seemed to accelerate the rate that people were getting cloned out. But, to really answer that, we would need like a person who gets this and they're in their 30s or 40s to really step up, and I don't see too many of them popping up. I hope they do, but I don't see too many of them popping up too many places. But in this modern day period, so close to the end, nowadays most real humans aren't making it to the age of 25. I've seen someone say, who's probably a clone themselves, I don't know, I've seen someone say that God's children don't usually make it to the age 35, and when he sees someone who has, it's kind of like he tips his hat, like, congrats, Don't really see too many of God's children making it to the age of 35, and I believe him, even though he's probably a clone. He seems to tell a whole lot of truth, I believe him. It probably is very rare for God's children to make it, to make it past the age of 35. In fact, it's probably rare for them to make it past the age of 25, as I've said. So, yeah. When you see an elderly person, you can usually tell if someone's a clone by whether or not they blink too much, or by whether or not they're a tranny. And see my video before this and my other videos on how to detect for tranny features. I've gone over it quite a lot. My first video, I go over it. The video I've done immediately before this, I go over it. Can't go over it every single video. One of the, big things you can just look for. A male should have a lot of space between the eyes. A female should not. A male should have a broad face. A female should have a narrow face. A male should have a broad chin horizontally. Female should have a narrow chin. Male should have a U kind of jawline. Female should have a V kind of jawline. So on and so on. But, what else? Yeah, I think most of God's children who are real humans, they get real messed up. They get real beat up in this world real quick. And they can't take it, they can't make it in this world. A lot of them don't find Christ, or they don't find Christ and they're serious about it and they lose their soul, even in their early 20s. That's what I think. And by 25, at least post 2012, by 25, most real humans, they're already checked out. And there weren't very many real humans to begin with. And then, you get by the age of 25, it's like, maybe, less than half of the, not even that, less than, by 25, it seems like, less than 30 or 20% of the real humans who were born are still left. And when you think about it, when you start doing the numbers, like when you start going, well, if like maybe 20 or 10% of the people born are actually real humans, and by 25, 80 or 90% of those people have already been cloned, then you start doing the numbers and it's like, how many real humans are there? Are there only 5%? Are there only 1% of real people on the earth are real humans? Is it less than that? It could be. I don't know. But, it ain't good. Real humans are very, very rare. Very, 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 very rare. Not common at all. And so, yeah, I think when you meet an old person, like in their 60s or in their 50s or whatever, in their 70s, and they're a real human, like, man, that's some warrior. And they probably don't know about as much about this conspiracy theory stuff as maybe you do as a young person. But God wouldn't expect that as much because there wasn't the internet back then. A lot of this knowledge wasn't as open. But if they just was the type who just regularly prayed to Christ and tried to keep it real and did the best they could, maybe those type of people would actually be allowed to live in the old age, because most of your elderly people are soulless. It's going to be kind of rare to meet an elderly person with a soul, sadly. And, it's rare to meet a person over 25 at all with a soul, sadly. And decades and years ago, it may not have been so bad, but now it is. And like I said, maybe people are even getting cloned out at 15, 14. I think most people are given at least till 18 to 21 to live their life and to try to learn and try to find things out. And then by 21, if they still kind of want to act, wild, I think a lot of real humans just start dropping. And so, a lot of these people going into college and going into the military, that's a haven for getting cloned out. Most real humans who go into those kind of places, they get cloned out pretty quick, I think, or at least by the age of 23, 24. They don't tend to last, a lot of them. And those are separate videos. I'll do separate videos on that. But your real human normally, who I think probably has the best chance of making it, is probably a real human who, after high school, for whatever reason, maybe they just worked a regular job and they didn't go into high school, they didn't go into college, they didn't go into, the military, or at the very least, they didn't go into those things until maybe much later. Better yet, until maybe they found Christ, or better yet, they found Christ and didn't go into him at all, and things of that nature. So basically, just a regular person, just grinding a job, trying to make it, didn't go to the college or didn't go to the military or whatever. They're probably, and they're not out partying in the clubs, and they're not out, being all wild and crazy, and, maybe they found Christ, or they, try to pray on their own. Maybe they don't even go to church. This is probably better that they don't, because churches are filled with clones, sadly. And that's probably your person who's going to be one of your most likely to make it. Because, when you try to go to college and when you go to the military, don't get me wrong, there are people who do this and they don't get cloned, but a lot of real humans who do that end up getting cloned, okay, in their early 20s. They don't even make it to C25, and that's real sad, because with me personally, I feel like, a lot of times you don't even fully kind of mentally mature until you're 25. And so, you don't, there's no real chance for a lot of people to have real human mentors, basically. If you're a human, your mentor is probably a clone, a fallen angel in a clone body who wants you to get cloned yourself and go to hell. That's probably your real mentor. That's a real human. There aren't very many chances for you to meet a human, maybe older than 25, who knows how to navigate this evil world and can kind of show you and teach you the ropes. There's not too much of that going on. You're lucky if you find it, because usually your only chance for a mentor is Christ. And that's not bad at all. That's great, because Christ is better than any human you could ever meet. Sometimes it helps to have a person you can see and you can talk to. But ultimately, if you have Christ, you're all right. And, you better pray to Christ every night, every day, with sincerity, repetitively, to keep you alive in this, basically, the Hunger Games. Because that's what it is out here. It's the Hunger Games. It's musical chairs. Real humans are being born, but real humans, they get knocked off like the Hunger Games until there's only a few left. And that's just how it is, I guess. That's just how it has to go. But if you are walking side by side and in hand with Christ, you can make it, through this terrible, satanic world of ours. So that's my other video. I hope you guys liked it. Long story short, I think real humans are being born. Maybe a few of the really, really dirtbag ones get cloned at like 14, 15, maybe. Most real humans probably live to make it to 18 to 21, and then after 21, most real humans just really start getting cloned out rapidly, and then by 25 nowadays, very few people I think are actual real humans. And if you're 25 and you're a real human, but you still hadn't found Christ, you must either have great love for people, maybe you have a great love for the truth and ethics and honesty or something, but that's only going to take you so far. You need to wake up and see these robots and these clones around you. You need to really start praying to Christ, because you don't know how long you have. You might not even have another night. So I hope you do, though. I hope everyone listening to this video, I hope Christ can really bless them, and I hope Christ can really hold their hands. And it's harder for some people to see, and I hope the real humans who have made it this far, I hope Christ can find it, can really help guide the humans who've made it to this point, and can really stymie the bleeding or something, as in help what few remaining humans really find truth and to find him, and to really protect them in his name, and to if it be his will, whatever his will be, will be done. And that's just how it is. But I really hope that a lot more people can start getting it nowadays. I really hope that we can start turning the corner on this whole genocide of humans, and we can start having some humans who are around who really start getting the spiritual thing, and they're not cloned out as easy. So that's my video, guys. I hope you guys really liked it. Real humans have a really tough time in this world, but I hope a few of them can start getting it now. I hope a few of us can really just kind of cling to Christ and just hold on until the end, because that's all that you can do. That's all you can do, really, is just hold on until the end. Just hope you make it. Just hope Christ has mercy on your soul, because none of us really, deserve to make it into heaven. But I hope Christ can have mercy on those who are left. And yeah, guys, that's my video. Hope you liked it. If you got any interesting kind of comments to leave, or hopefully you're a real human, start making your videos of your own. And I think the more real humans we get on this, the better it will be. So, see you guys.